असङ्गोऽहम् 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 पुनः पुनः सच्चिदानन्दरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः नित्यशुद्धविमुक्तोऽहम् निराकारोऽहमव्ययः भूमानन्दस्वरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः नित्योऽहं निरवद्योऽहम् निराकारोऽहमच्युतः परमानन्दरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः शुद्धचैतन्यरूपोऽहम् आत्मा रामोऽहमेव च अखण्डानन्दरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः प्रत्यक्षचैतन्यरूपोऽहम् शान्तोऽहम् प्रकृतेः परः शाश्वतानन्दरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः तत्त्वातीतपरात्माहम् मध्यातीतः परशिवः मायातीतपरञ्ज्योतिः अहमेवाहमव्ययः नानारूपव्यतीतोऽहम् चिदाकारोऽहमच्युतः सुखरूपस्वरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः माया तत्कार्यदेहादि मम नास्त्येव सर्वदा स्वप्रकाशैकरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः गुणत्रयव्यतीतोऽहम् ब्रह्मादीनां च साक्ष्यहम् अनन्तानन्दरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः अन्तर्ज्योतिस्वरूपोऽहम् कूटस्थः सर्वभूस्म्यहम् सर्वसाक्षिस्वरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः द्वन्द्वादिसाक्षिरूपोऽहम् अचलोऽहं सनातनः सर्वसाक्षिस्वरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः प्रज्ञानघन एवाहम् विज्ञानघन एव च अकर्ताहम् अभोक्ताहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः निराधारस्वरूपोऽहम् सर्वाधारोऽहमेव च आप्तकामस्वरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः तापत्रयविनिर्मुक्तः देहत्रयविलक्षणः अवस्थात्रयसाक्ष्यस्मि अहमेवाहमव्ययः दृग्दृश्यौ द्वौ पदार्थौ स्तः परस्परविलक्षणौ दृग्ब्रह्मदृश्यं मायेति सर्ववेदान्तडिण्डिमः अहं साक्षीति यो विद्यात् विविच्यैवं पुनः पुनः स एव मुक्तः स विद्वान् इति वेदान्तडिण्डिमः घटकुड्यादिकं सर्वं मृत्तिकामात्रमेव च तद्वद्ब्रह्म जगत् सर्वम् इति वेदान्तडिण्डिमः ब्रह्म सत्यं जगन्मिथ्या जीवो ब्रह्मैव नापरः अनेन वेद्यं सच्छास्त्रम् इति वेदान्तडिण्डिमः अन्तर्ज्योति बहिर्ज्योतिः प्रत्यग्ज्योतिः परात्परः ज्योतिज्योति स्वयं ज्योतिः आत्मज्योतिशिवोऽस्म्यहम् ज्योतिज्योति स्वयं ज्योतिः आत्मज्योतिशिवोऽस्म्यहम्।
Hari Om, good evening, a very warm welcome to all of you. Please come. Let's use the power of praying together and move to the next higher level. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amrutam gamaya. Sahana vavatu sahano bhunaktu sahaviryam karavavahai tejasvina vadhitamastu ma vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. O Lord the Almighty, the Omniscient, the Omnipotent, the Omnipresent, together with immense Shraddha, Bhakti and Prapatti, we offer our humble most salutations. It is that Brahman and Brahman alone, that one supreme power, reality, who is also called by the divine names as Purusattamaha and Vinayaha. To such a divine, supreme truth and power, we humbly offer our salutations and seek its grace, mercy, love, compassion, forgiveness, affection, benevolence, strength, and resilience. O Lord, please bless us with the divine qualities like Shraddha, Bhakti, Jnana, Vairagya, Prapatti and Mumukshutva to the next level, so that we all are equipped to have the first-hand experience of Thy true self in this very life and in this very own body and mind. This can happen only with your anugraha, Deva anugraha. We humbly beseech to bestow upon us. Our humble salutations to the entire Guru Parampara. Om Tat Sat. Today, by the grace of the Almighty and the immense blessings of the Guru Parampara, we are on our Divine Discourse number 454 and at the episode number 41, studying Aparoksha Anubhuthi. On the 9th of December 2025, Swasti Shri Vishwavasunama Samvatsara Dakshinayana Hemantaruto Margashira Krishna Paksha Bhauma Vasare Panchamyatitau Ashlesha Nakshatra Indra Nama Yoge Garajakarane. On this auspicious day of Tuesday and the auspicious time of the evening, together we all solemnly affirm with immense faith in the dictum Naham Karta Hari Karta Hari Preranaya Hari Prityartham. We all are nothing but a witness to our respective body, mind and senses operating under the influence of Maya through its Sattva, Rajas and Tamas gunas, all backed with that super consciousness. This is how the entire creation has taken place and is functioning. Now, a few souls who have the Ishvara Shastra and the Guru Krupa get this knowledge, change their mindset, their point of view, their perspective, and live in the truth, knowing very well what the illusion is and at the same time what the supreme truth is. So we again and again thank the Almighty to keep us on this path with steadfastness. May all the vanities, pleasures, luxuries and attractions of the world not dissuade me from this path, even to the slightest bit, but rather infuse that robust fuel in all of us so that we can continue our spiritual journey with God's speed and eventually attain that supreme truth. Our salutations once again to the Guru Parampara. Om Tat Sat. Good evening, everybody. A very warm welcome once again. So, out of the 15 techniques, so far we have completed 2 techniques. We'll just take a quick recap of what these techniques are. 8 come from the Ashtanga Yoga, Patanjali Yoga Sutras. And here Bhagavan Shankaracharya has added 7 more of his own and made it completely a pack of 15 techniques. I would say 15 ways, methods, or the possibilities. Now, while we are on learning the techniques, wherever we come across these 8 techniques of Patanjali Yoga, we understand what does Patanjali Yoga say as far as those techniques are concerned, and what does Bhagavan Shankaracharya mean by that particular technique in contrast to what Patanjali Yoga Shastra says. So this is the beauty of what we have to understand. So we are having the advantage of the knowledge of the Patanjali Yoga Sutras on one hand, and at the same time we get a different perspective from Bhagavan Shankaracharya as per the Advaita Shastra. And where they are not under the scheme of 8, so they are purely on the lines of what Bhagavan Shankaracharya has to say as per the Advaita Shastra. So in all possible manners, this is a great advantage. Now I tell you, if you perfect one, that is still very good enough. But if you perfect more, you will have more power. So some are like loaded. Like today what we are going to learn about TYAGA is, it just talks about what is the meaning, renunciation. What is our understanding of renunciation and what is Bhagavan Shankaracharya's understanding of renunciation. So here we have to do that change. We have to look at our lives from the perspective of what Bhagavan Shankaracharya is saying, that way. So carefully understand where are we progressing. And I tell you, this is not about just listening. Listening is for, say, this 1.5 hour. The rest of the time is all practice. Apply them, right away apply them. And then see how you start progressing. Somebody asked, like, I want to do meditation. So the teacher said, well, how much time do you want to do? He says, I want to do for 5 minutes. Okay. And then the student asks, what should be the kind of preparation for that 5 minutes of meditation? So then the teacher says, the preparation for that 5 minutes of meditation is 23 hours, 55 minutes. If you want to effectively meditate for that 5 minutes, your preparation has to be for the rest of the time. So apply this in the reverse way. So here if we have listened for 1.5 hours, then the balance 22.5 hours becomes our practice. See, we all may get a question, how do I practice during a sleep? Don't worry. Before going to sleep, go with the thought. It will do wonders. In fact, more than your state of being awake, when you are asleep, this will do much better wonders, because the subconscious takes over and it does that deep implantation of these hardcore facts. So one is, as you are going to sleep, go with that thought. And then again, as you get up, first thing is, a rush of thoughts come to your mind. I have to do this, I have to go there, I have to get this, I have to complete this, I have to talk to so and so, usual thoughts. Train your mind that you get up with these thoughts, and it happens. If you have gone to sleep with that thought, you are able to get up with that thought. And with my own experience, I say, when I used to chant, earlier I used to chant Sri Vishnu Sahasranama. Chant, and by the time before you complete, you go off to sleep. Next day morning, again the chanting would restart from where I have gone to sleep. I was surprised, because somewhere we remember, I had those pivotal catchy words, which means I'm going on the right track. To know that yes, I have crossed this means I have crossed this. So those words are registered as you're going off to sleep. Maybe somewhere 10-20 shlokas before, that is registered in your mind. And then you realize that after that last registration, probably I have chanted another 10-20 shlokas, which is out of my understanding. And then your mind takes over from there. This is the power of the mind. So that way, with these right practices, we have to move forward. So one is 106 we have Tyaga. Then 107th verse is Mouna, silence. Then comes the fifth one is Desha, auspicious place. Kala is the auspicious time. And the seventh one is Asanam, which is the sitting posture. Now Yama, Niyama, after that, now one more which is Mula Bandha is again not in the Ashtanga Yoga, is the kind of a lock done by Pranayam, Mula Bandha. And Deha Samyam, posture of the body. Drikstitihi, stabilizing the vision of the eyes. And then comes the 11th one, Prana Samyamanam, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana and Samadhi. These are all from the Ashtanga Yoga. Okay, so we'll quickly look at what did we learn in the last two shlokas, or the niyamas, the techniques what we have. First one in Yama, he says, Sarvam Brahmeti Vijnanat. Primarily, Yama as per Ashtanga Yoga is the moral restraints. Ahimsa, Satyam, Brahmacharya, Asteya, all these are the restraints you have. Now here it says, you don't have to, you do those restraints, fine. But from your point of view of your mind, he says that direct knowledge, all this is Brahman. And when you are dealing with that, where is your kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya? When you start seeing Brahman in everything, you can't have these vagaries of your temperaments. So he says, then you don't have to really restrain. Restraint comes to you automatically. Then the second one, niyama. These are the imperatives. Shaucha, santosha. Now all these imperatives, he says, you go to a stage where it is sajatiya pravahascha vijatiya tiraskritihi. Meaning a continuous flow of the same kind of thought. Sajatiya, same kind of thought. What is that thought? All this is Brahman. Again, it goes with the same concept. And vijatiya tiraskritihi. Vijati means the contrary thoughts. Tiraskritihi. Keep them away. So this is that niyama, imperative. Here he talks of rejection of all that is contrary to the right thought. So now we come to the third one, is TYAGA in verse 106. Okay, we'll move on to 106 now. We chant the first shloka. Shri Harim Paramanandam Upadeshtaramishwaram Vyapakam Sarvalokana Karanam Tam Namamyaham. After invoking and seeking the blessings of Shri Hari, we move on. Tyagaha prapancharupascha Chidatmatvat avalokanat Tyago hi mahatam pujyo Sadyo mokshamayo yataha. Now, here he says, this real renunciation, Tyaga, which is always so respectfully honored by the noble sages, is the rejection of the illusory universe. On realizing that the universe is nothing but the Atman, the pure consciousness. Now, here one word is something which is very, very attracting. Now, what is that? Sadyah mokshamayah. The last quarter. Sadyo mokshamayo yataha. Meaning, the one who is able to do this kind of a tyaga or renunciation, he says, Sadyo moksha. Right now and right here you will be immediate liberation. You see this, as you can see, since it is the nature of immediate liberation. Sadyo moksha. You are in that thought of tyaga, prapancha, rupascha, chidatmatvat avalokhanat. One who is able to see chidatmatvat, that chidatmatvat is realizing it is all conscious self. Avalokhanat, realizing. This tyaga hi mahatat, of the great, who are always pujyaha, honored. So for such people, sadhyaha, immediately mokshamayaha yataha. It's of the, because it's of the nature of liberation. This is what is told over here. Now let's in our usual fashion try to understand. What does this mean? Now as we understand, this verse is talking of the word tyagaha, which we know as renunciation, but not of worldly things alone. No, don't get confused. What you're trying to say? Tyaga meaning I have to give up everything. Worldly things. No. See, there was once Brihaspati. Now his son Kacha comes to him and he says, he has finished his education in the so-called the top 5 unis of the world. Those days he has gone to some other university. He's come back and then the father asks him, have you attained peace? You have learned so much now. That too from one of the most prestigious colleges of the world, universities of the world. Have you attained peace? Kacha, honest to his father, he says, no. I have studied enough, but I don't see I'm peaceful. Then, father, since you are asking me and I have given you a reply in the negative, can you please tell me what should I do to attain peace? His father says, Tyagaha, renunciation. He says, what is that I have to renounce? He says, whatever you have, you renounce. So then he says, okay. So he takes, he renounces everything, whatever he had, so-called belongings, excepting a staff, a water bowl, and a begging bowl, and then one loin cloth. That's it. And he sets off his journey to do Tirtha Yatra. Always chanting the name of the Lord and doing his Tirtha Yatra. Then 1 or 2 years he goes around the country and he comes back. And then his father asks, have you attained peace? Kacha says, not really. Let me be honest with you, not really. And then he says, father, what should I do? Renounce. Then he says, what is there to renounce now? I have got nothing. He says, okay, now I'll renounce my begging bowl also. I'll renounce my loin cloth. I'll renounce that stick which I'm keeping for my support and protection. I'll renounce that also. Okay. So if at all I get food somewhere, I'll eat. Otherwise, it's okay. And then again he sets his journey, naked he sets his journey throughout the country. And after a year or two, he comes back. Then his father asks, have you attained peace? He says, no. What do I do now? The same answer. Renounce. Now, Kacha is in a state of fix. He tries to compare his studies at that top uni where he was there, and what is this now is happening over here? I'm still not able to attain peace despite I have renounced everything. Then he says, probably I think I need to renounce my body now. And he sets a fire and is about to jump into that fire. His father comes there and says, son, wait a minute. What are you trying to do? He says, father, you said renounce. Now what is that I have got? I have only got this body now. Otherwise, other than this body, I don't have anything. So I'm going to the next stage of renunciation. Father says, no, that's not the right thing to do. Because if you jump into the fire, this body is burnt, then your karma, prarabdha karma, will generate another body and you will still continue to suffer. That's not going to be the end of your problem. Then what should I renounce? He says renunciation in the true sense is not of the body or of the mind. It is the mind and the body itself. Renounce your mind. You know, it's such a beautiful thing. If you want to go into that Sakshi Bhava, which we are all trying to do, anytime any thought comes, the Shadrupos, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, or Raga, Dvesha, 6 and these 2, 8. Other than this, what is there in our mind? You think for yourself. Now, all this is being watched by that Aham Bhava. Okay. Now, what you have to do is, the moment you get, say, angry against somebody, so far, being in ignorance, you were getting angry from the point of view of the Aham Bhava. Now you push that Aham Bhava aside and watch your mind as pure witness. See, such a great opportunity you are getting to watch your mind. You are feeling jealous about somebody, watch your mind. You are feeling hatred towards somebody. Where is that hatred coming from? Watch it. And you will know all these are generating in the mind. And become a witness to the mind. Start talking to your mind. Start interacting and trying to tell him, why are you behaving like this? Change your ways, mend your ways. You don't have to. You know, that way, all these, when anger comes, when jealousy comes, when hatred comes, when extreme desire comes, I want this, I don't want this, these are the way, immediately go back and sit in the pilot seat of an observer, the witness. So he says, you have to renounce not your body, you have to, and your mind, you have to renounce your mind itself. That is the Manonashaha. That topic will take up its subject by itself. How to do Mano-tyagaha and Mano-nashaha. So, then his son understood. He says, whatever is coming in my mind, I should not act from the point of view of my mind. I should be observing what my mind is doing. He moves into the Sakshi Bhava. The moment he moves to Sakshi Bhava, he is at peace. He says, Father, let me practice this. He practices for a few months and he comes back to his father. And the father does not ask the question. Kacha asks his father, Father, what? Every time I came back, you said, did you find peace? Why is it that you're not asking me now? The father says, I can see it on your face. I don't have to ask you. It is glowing on your face. Peace, tranquility is glowing on your face. Then Kacha understood, yes, I have moved myself from being in this Aham Bhava to being in the state of witness. Now, being in the state of witness, I know what is the Brahmakara Vritti. What is that knowledge of Brahman? This is Chidabhasa. It is nothing but a reflection on this mind. And the true self is in front of this mind. Just like you see a reflection of yourself in the mirror. You are not the reflection in the mirror, but you are the person who is standing in front of the mirror. So with that knowledge, he continues. So now this Tyagaha, it is not about your worldly things. One has to understand. So this Tyagaha Prapancha Rupasya, of the form of that universe, means that expansive, illusory world of names and forms, Rupasya. Means it has apparent shapes also. He says, whenever you see all this, Chidatmatva Avalokanat, with that direct vision or knowledge or realization, Avalokanat, what is it made of? Made of that pure consciousness. Chidatmatvat, where Chit is consciousness, Atmatvat is the essence of that Atma or the true self, Paramatma. So here, the renunciation of the illusory universe by realizing it is all that conscious Atman. So Tyaga is not about physically giving up our possessions, our family, our duties. All those are external sannyasa, renunciation, which is good as far as you are able to keep your life easy and simple. Not too many people all the time bothering you. See, we are at an advantage. If you are a monk, what have you got to take care of? You only have to take care of your body. That means your health. But we have got 7 other things apart from body. They say, Atma Jaya Suta Agara Pashudhanam Bandhushya Rajye. Atma is your body. Jaya is your wife. Suta are your children. Agara is your Bandhusha, Suta, Agara, your wealth. Pashu is your animals. Normally, now that we have cars and so many other possessions, earlier they had only animals. Dhanam, your money. Bandhusha, you have relatives. And Rajya is you have your profession. You are an agriculturist or you are something. So our life is continuously roaming around these 8 factors. So 1/8 in 100%, a monk has got duties with respect to only his body, which is 12.5%. The rest 87.5%, we as the samsariks, which are like the grahasthas, we have to take care. So don't worry, that benefit we all have as being the grahasthas. You have that huge discount in our favor. So being in all this, anything you're doing, your wife, your children, your husband, your relatives, your wealth, everything is nothing but what is given by God. You are working under the title of a trusteeship. The moment you enter your house, thank the Lord that you have given me a roof to stay. It is not my house. I am just a trustee over here. I'm doing your work. You have given me a place to stay. You enter your car. This is not my car. I am doing your work, or you have put me to this work, and you have given me a vehicle also to roam around. You have given me children. You have given me a wife, a husband to take care. So this way, whatever it be, money, your vehicles, your profession, your relatives. So This avalokanath, that real renunciation is, whatever you have, don't get attached to it. Once you do this, that pure consciousness, that is our true self. What happens is, it's like that waking from a dream, where you thought that the dream world was real, only to realize that it was all projected by your own mind. So now what have you understood over here? You have understood that all this is just like a mirage. A person who sees a mirage and he is so thirsty, he runs towards it. And then finally he comes to know that this was just an illusion. And again, if he sees it, will he go running behind it? No. He says, oh, he gives it a smile, that's all. I know what you are. I'll not get fooled by you. So this way, once you understand the nature of this entire creation, is nothing but that Chidatmatvat. See, always used to talk about, that same gold is in different ornaments. Like you have a earring, you have a finger ring, you have the nose ring, then you have a bangle, you have a necklace. All those are in different parts of your body. But eventually when you melt them, what happens? It is gold and gold alone. So I was thinking, can I come with a better example? Now, so what thought came to me today as far as this example is concerned? There is one wealthy or a billionaire, you can say, or a trillionaire, okay, very rich man, and there is a beggar. Then there is a scientist who has won the Nobel Prize. Then there is an illiterate along with him. Then you have the world's most powerful person. Politically, you know who is the most powerful person in the world. And then you have just an ordinary weakling. Now all these 6 people, let's say they died together and they are cremated. Okay. Now their ashes are kept 6 different portions. Now you are called and you say, tell me which ash belongs to which person. Think about it. It's an eye-opener. At the level of the ash, you can't make any difference. All the ash is the same. In the same way, understand that we all are made of that same substance. What is that substance? As we know, Chidatmatvat, that consciousness, existence. This whole world. Now, another way of putting it is, look at every person. You have cells, you have atoms in these cells. Finally what? Atom. You come to that stage of atom. Now when the whole world, it is appearing different, but eventually the grassroot of every thing you see in this universe is nothing but atoms, or the Panchabhutas, what we call. So this way, go into that root aspect and know that eventually, once you are dead and you are gone, it's ash and ash alone, where your ash, my ash and somebody else's ash are all the same. Why are you jumping up and down? You may be the happiest person, you may be the saddest person, you may be the poorest person, you may be the richest person, you may be the most powerful person, you may be the most desolate person. Everybody is made up with that same constituents. Now who is playing the trick over here? It is the mind which is playing the trick. So start observing your mind as a witness. That is the knowledge what we are getting over here. So, Tyago hi mahatam pujyaha sadyo mokshayato mokshamayo yataha. That renunciation, coming back to what we understood, he says, Mahatam, these great yogis, the wise, enlightened beings, the honored, revered, those who are puja, they say sadhyo mokshaha. You want to see the intensity of this statement? Start practicing it. So once you start practicing, coming out of the mind and being established in the Sakshi Bhava. I told you how to go into Sakshi Bhava. Whenever your mind is saying something, start questioning your mind. Start talking to your mind. You are automatically in the Sakshi Bhava. Now what we are doing, whatever the mind says, we get with the flow. We are one with the mind. So now distance yourself. Hey mind, what are you saying? Why are you giving me such feelings about that person? Good, bad, ugly, sad, whatever it is. Start questioning. You are moving to the state of witness. So indeed, this renunciation is honored by the great, since it is of the nature of immediate liberation. That is what we get to understand over here. So once, as a disciple asked his guru, Swamiji, how to renounce? The guru, he pointed out to a mirage in the desert, that shimmering water that vanishes upon it the moment you approach over there. See, that's the world. Realize it's Atman and TYAGA happens. The disciple suddenly got a flash. He says, my beloved ones, in my daily life, I am having so many chores to do in my daily life, my family duties, all this. He says, practice what? See everything as consciousness. Whatever it is, it could be a traffic jam, it could be a power cut, it could be a loving hug by somebody, good words of praise from somebody yelling at you. Says, look, everything finally boils down to that essence, as we got to know that ash at the physical level. So it is all about that Chidatmatvad, which is existence, consciousness, backed by that atoms or Panchabhutas, all making different noises, that's all. Know this and renounce all your thoughts, emotions, feelings, attachment. So this is the technique which we get to understand. So apply that principle and see, what are we at eventually at the ultimate grassroots level? We all are the same, behaving differently when we are alive. So that TYAGA, bring in that TYAGA in your life and renounce and rejoice. Okay, now we move to 107. यतो वाचो निवर्तन्ते अप्राप्य मनसा सह यन्मौनं योगभिर्गम्यं तद्भावेत् सर्वदा बुधः. Says, the wise sage should ever remain in that silence, that is the Mouna, from which mind along with speech returns without comprehending it. It means here, without comprehending that supreme reality. And this state of silence within can be attained by true meditators or yogins. This is what is, in a way, it is trying to tell us the right method. Don't get dissuaded. Don't try to go into the wrong area. If you want to reach that state of bliss, know that your mind is going to come back empty, because this Brahman cannot be described, which eventually you cannot understand with your mind, nor you can grasp it with the senses. So he talks about this, trying to say, no, don't try to waste time trying to make a fool out of yourself with this. So now we'll understand Mouna. What is most important is, I'll tell you now here, when we're talking about this Mouna, I'll share my personal experience. Many a time, see, what is important here is we need that conviction in what we are trying to understand as we are learning. Somewhere you are convinced, somewhere you are more convinced, somewhere you are like absolutely convinced. There are variations to it. I was feeling that I am convinced, but then when I started this Mouna along with Nirjal Upasa, it took me to another level. And I was wondering what is there in this Mouna combined with Upavas, Nirjal Upavas. And I did my research on that, and I found out that scientifically it makes a big change. That is which I'll share with you today. Like in what way is that change happening in the entire system, where we can understand that yes, this is going in the right direction. So that will give you that conviction, so that yes, I also should practice this and get that advantage. Okay. Now, yato vacho nivartante. What is this yato vacho nivartante? See, we are trying to understand something in the wrong manner. So that from which words turn back without gaining anything or receiving anything. So this is very clearly says, yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha. Don't think that your mind has got the capacity to go there and fetch what you are talking about. So describing that Brahman, that absolute reality, which is beyond the grasp of speech and thought, those words, and without all this your mind cannot understand anything. And exhausted, it retreats and comes back to you and stands in front of you like a fool. Now what you do, since you are associated with the mind, you think I have become a fool over here. What is it that they are trying to tell me, and what is it that I am trying to understand? There is nothing to understand over here. It's like trying to describe the indescribable. So the mind reaches its limit and it folds back into silence. So, like once, this is a Zen story. One of the scholar who was proud of what he had learnt, wherever he had learnt, he goes to the Zen master and he boasts about his knowledge. Now the Zen master is trying to tell, okay, you are telling me about yourself, but why have you come here? No, he says, I want to learn from you. I didn't ask you to come. I didn't tell you to tell me what you are. But for the first 10-15 minutes, you were going on boasting about yourself. And then when I ask you, why have you come? You're saying that I've come here to learn from you. Okay. Then the Zen master says, okay, let's have some tea. And he keeps a cup in front of him and one in front of the guest. And he starts pouring into the cup of the guest first. Half over, 3/4 over, now it is full. He's still pouring. Now it's spilling. That student who has come, who is a proud scholar, he says, Master, what are you doing? The tea is overflowing, it's falling down. Then the master, Zen master, he stops and he says, see, your mind is like that. It's already full. Now, what is the use of me going to tell you something, and what is that you're going to learn from me? So, if at all you want to learn something, First, empty your mind. Don't come with that feeling that I know everything and start comparing. No, first understand what this person is saying. So likewise, our mind is that where it is already full. It doesn't have the capacity. Aprapya, unattainable. So yen maunam yogibirgamyam tad bhavet sarvada buddha. Yen maunam. So he says, yat, that which, back to that indescribable reality, maunam, silence, that profound inner quietude, not just absence of silence. So yogi bihi, by that yogis united with the divine through practice, gamyam, they attain, they reach. What? Tat, that supreme reality. So bhajet, you worship, you resort to, you devote your energy, life, time to that supreme reality. Don't go with your meager desires. That's the worst way of associating with the divine. If at all those thoughts are coming, then don't be associated with the divine. It's humiliation to you and to the divine also. Divine is not supposed to be approached with your paltry desires. So, sarvada buddha, always at all times. Buddha, the wise one, means the awakened one, the intelligent seeker. This is how he approaches. So the wise should always be one with that silence, which is attainable only by the yogins, not by everybody. So that Buddha is advised to bhajet, constantly abide in or worship this Mouna, making it their constant companion. It is sarvada, always. Not just where you are in a temple or you are in a meditative camp, even in marketplaces, even in homes, offices, traffic. This is that pinnacle of sadhana. How? From external practices to that inner stillness. So now think there is a noisy street, okay? Which is just like in comparison to the mind's chatter. Continuously your mind is chattering. So those words are like that honking cars. And those thoughts are like those pedestrians coming from all across. Now, next to that road, there is a silent river. Now imagine that deep water of that river, it's untouched by that surface chaos with whatever is there. So you become that yogi, dive into that river of your mind and be in silence. So the yogis, they live in that depth of the river. Although there is chaos on the outer surface, but they are not disturbed. So the surface noise continues, but they are anchored in silence always. So Mauna Vakya Prakatita Parabrahma Tattva Yuvanam. This is what is told over here. You have to be in that state of complete silence. Now I'll tell you one more way of meditating, recognizing. This I of late came to know in the last, say, 3-4 months or so. We take a breath and then we exhale. So there is an inhale and there is an exhale. Now what you have to do is focus on that transit. A great powerful tool of meditation. Otherwise, normally what we do when we say prana samyamana. Prana samyamana is where you observe your breath. You're observing the inhale, then you're observing the exhale. But this is different. What you're doing? You're not observing the inhale nor the exhale. You are just observing the transit between the inhale and the exhale. Right now you try and see. That short transit is that consciousness, complete state of consciousness. As you inhale, immediately you are moving to an exhalation. Get hold of that, and then don't observe the rest of the breath. Then again, as you are completed your exhalation, then that transit, only get hold of that. Practice this. So this will slowly take you to the state of this Mouna. Okay. Now I'll get to this Nirjala fasting, what I was telling you. Earlier, you start your fast. I started in the year about 92, so it's now about 33 years. For the first few months, you have some palahar. Palahar could be, you can have poha or you can have upma and these kind of things once in a day, and then you substitute it with fruits after a few months. Slowly you substitute it with fruits, and then slowly you give up the palahar, which is the snacks which used to have poha or upma. Give up the fruits also and only go on tender coconut. Now give up the tender coconut after a few months. What is the meaning of after a few months? Who decides that? You have to decide based on your body condition. You should not get a headache. This is one bottom line, understand. If you are getting a headache, meaning then you have to consume some food. Okay. You will come to a stage where it won't disturb you. Then after tender coconut, you drink some water, warm water, and slowly reduce the quantum, and then you give up water as well. So this I was doing. Maybe in 1.5 to 2 years time, I was able to come to that complete state of Nirjala. Okay. Now what happens during this time is, when you start about 12 to 16 hours of fast, I'm giving you the scientific process which happens in your body and how it helped me to gain clarity. How do I know that I gained clarity? Because I got to know something more deeper than what I had already known. So that showed that it is taking to the next level. Then with my research, I compared and I saw, how did I get this clarity? Now this research will show us. Okay. 12 to 16 hours of fasting, your glucose, whatever storage is there, that depletes. And then the liver starts producing ketones. Now these ketones are like, you can compare them to a much cleaner and more efficient fuel for the brain, which is more better than the glucose. Now for example, if there are variations in petrol, right? You take 100 rupees petrol, there is something which is 110, 120, 130 rupees also. So likewise, now these ketones which goes to the brain, instead of glucose, this ketone goes cleaner and more efficient fuel. Then what they do, they reduce oxidative stress and inflammation. Thereby, it is promoting sharper thinking and emotional stability. Now this is initially between 12 to 16. As you move forward, you cross 20, then 24. Then the after 24 autophagy is triggered. That kicks in, which is now the brain cleanup. Now that is for 24th hour to the 36th hour. For autophagy means that self eating all the dead cells in your body. Now the cells which are there, they start eating the dead cells. So meaning the entire cleanup of your body happens. Now the brain, especially, we are more concerned about the brain than the body. Now it clears out all these damaged cells and proteins. How does cancer come? Because nowadays we are not fasting. All the filth which is there in terms of the dead cells. How many dead cells are there? Every second we have 38 lakh cells which are dying and 38 lakh are born. So that brings into, per minute you have 23.8 crore cells. And in one day, you have 33,000 crore cells in your body which are dead. Now, who's going to do the cleaning? And what is the process for this cleaning? It is the cells which are alive, they eat the dead cells. So that is the way it is made, your body is made. And that's how you see in every religion they have given impetus for fasting. So these damaged cells and whatever proteins are there, including that beta amyloids, which are basically towards Alzheimer's. Now, why is it Alzheimer's coming? Wrong eating habits. So this internal cleanup, it leaves the brain lighter, calmer, and more focused. See, I was getting answers. How is it this brain is becoming like this? Then the next stage is that BDNF, brain derived neurotropic factor, they say, meaning fasting, it boosts that BDNF. That is a protein that supports the growth of new neurons and enhances neuroplasticity. We need neuroplasticity. We are entirely changing our thought process now. From Ajnana, we are coming to Jnana. This is not right. This is right. So which means this road, I don't want this road. I am making a new road. Where do you get the material? So this BDNF, that protein, now that enhances neuroplasticity. So the more BDNF, more cement, more steel, more sand means more construction. So better learning, better memory, and that even that emotional resilience. People, we say, no, why he behaves like a crackpot here? Why does he behave like that? Because they don't have this BDNF production. That's all. So for that, what he should do? He need not go to a psychiatrist, ask him to fast. That's all. He will immediately, that BDNF production will increase, and then that emotional resilience will set in. Slowly let him fast. These are such easy methods. Now also that hormonal balance, that mental noise. How does that happen? See, when we feel hungry, how do we know we are hungry? There is one hormone known as ghrelin that is produced in our body, and then we say, I'm hungry, I'm more hungry, I want to eat. And when do we know we are full? There is one more hormone known as leptin. So now the moment that is released, it says, now stop eating, stop eating. So this ghrelin, that hunger hormone, actually it enhances that focus and alertness for that momentary period. And stress hormones like cortisol, they start spiking slightly, but in absolute moderation. Now this sharpens that mental clarity. Just like a hunter who is starving, he has that focus because of that scarcity. So with that same focus, you are able to grasp things. And then there are no sugar spikes, no crashes, steady mood and thinking. So many people, they immediately they report that we are feeling calm and that kind of a serene sensation which is happening in the brain. So this fasting helps us. Now from the Vedantic angle, what happens? The prana which is at the lower chakras, that immediately detaches. Regarding what? That food, survival, these are all the lower chakras, and it pushes the energy to the third eye, Agnya chakra, and the Sahasrara, the crown chakra. So these senses, mind, they all become introverted. We say not antarmukhi, take it inside. That gives you that heightened inner awareness. So now this Nirjal is considered extremely potent, because even water ties you to those physical needs and the earth element. Their energies are going down. Why they say, especially women during their monthly periods, should not worship, go to temples, worship, do meditation. Why it's not that? Why should not do? The simple reason is that when you are in your monthly cycle, it is everything has to go down. Your system is clearing, it has to go down. And in that time, if you're trying to push your energies upward, so it comes as a deterrent to the natural process. That's when you have these cramps and you have these aches and all that. So during that time, don't try to get into these activities which are elevating your the chakras. Don't do that. Allow it to during that time go. At best, what you are just chanting mantras, meaning in terms of the nama japa. That's light nama japa, but don't get into intense methods where your kundalini shakti is rising. So this way, now one has to say what Bhagavan Shankaracharya says is, bring in all this. So the rishis always spoke about fasting for not for physical health, but they said to reduce that identification with that body. You're so much pampering your body, right? Tell it that I'll give you when I want. You have no control over me. That is the time you're disciplining that body, your mind, and your senses also. Use it in that way. Now comes the important aspect is Mouna. How did Mouna, which I added, I think about 3 years ago or so, 3-4 years, something like that. Combined with Nirjal, I said, let me do Mouna. Now this is what I didn't decide. It was all by nature, it was decided, and I said, let me do it. Now this is a potent clarity for, it's a potent catalyst for inner clarity. Now how does silence enhance clarity? Both from the scientific aspect and from the spiritual perspective. Let's understand that now. By this modern psychology and neuroscience view, what happens is there is that reduced cognitive load. How? We are constantly for talking. Now I have to do a lot of thinking also before I'm talking. I'm processing words, converting into language, then I'm speaking it, and at the same time I'm listening, and same time I'm reading, and then reacting. Now this consumes enormous brain power. But the moment you get into silence, it eliminates that entire overload. All the time you are doing this, every time you are talking, whether it is a meaningful talk or not so meaningful talk, but this kind of an energy drain is happening. We don't realize. As they say, time is money. Your speech is also money. Please get this straight. Don't talk unnecessarily. Your speech is also money. So this silence, it eliminates this overload, and your prefrontal cortex, which is involved in that constant decision making and focus, it gets rest. Like, you're turning off all your apps of your mobile, switching your mobile off, it gets rest. And they say default mode, as we have that network activation, when you are silent and not actively involved, engaged in any kind of this external task, that DMN, which is the default mode network, it lights up, which is a part of the brain. It is linked to that self-reflection. See, here it comes. That insight, that creativity. Why am I not able to understand? Because consciousness is something which has to be experienced. It cannot be understood with the mind, nor it cannot be to the understanding of the perceptions. It has to be experienced. Now this is when your prefrontal cortex is calm. It gets that insight, that self-reflection. So Ishwaranugraha, Daiva Krupa is required. When do you get Daiva Krupa? With such kind of information you are getting and you are working towards it. Now, if I want to achieve that state, then let me follow these practices. Then there is a complete rest to the sensory system. Speaking stimulates not just the tongue, but the entire sympathetic nervous system. See, we always focus on parasympathetic, which is rest, digest and restore. Where you are giving rest, you are talking continuously. Now, the moment silence comes in, your parasympathetic system gets into the forefront. Now, this has a great impact on your gut also, which is your second brain. We don't realize everything is connected. So this calms the nervous system, it reduces anxiety and brings in that deep inner stillness that sharpens your awareness. And also you have that increased observation, that inner listening starts getting awakened. When you stop expressing outwardly, your eyes are closed, your ears are closed, your senses are closed, then your inner hearing becomes sharper. You start to hear your thoughts, your emotions, your subtle intuitions, they all start getting more and more clarity. Many of which are almost, they are drowned now. They are there, but they are drowned. Now, when you start these exercises, especially as a sadhak, you will see that there is a change in your system. Now, if you look at this from the yogic perspective or the Vedantic perspective, you are pratyahara, withdrawal of that energy. See, every time we speak, we are extending our prana, energy is going outward. Here it is pratyahara. Then silence conserves that prana and begins to take a U-turn to the senses inward. That is again pratyahara, preparatory step to dhyana. Yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara. Then comes the three last stages. Dharana, dhyana, samadhi. Before that is pratyahara. If your pratyahara is not to the point, then you will not reach samadhi. Because if your hand is shaking, how can you click a picture in the right sense? So this is that preparatory step towards dhyana. So now speech is a projection of our thought. So when that speech stops, then the thoughts also slow down. In that continued silence, the mind begins to dissolve. That is pratyahara and antarmukhataha. See, we have seen this word coming at so many points. How do I go antarmukhataha? This is the way. And when your mind begins to dissolve, it goes and stabilizes on the self. That is the pure witness. So now that ego often gets reinforced through that language. Otherwise, most of the time, I went there, I did this, I am definitely going to do that. Every time you talk, you're going to talk of I. You're boosting your ego. See, here everything is working so well, you're going internal. That silence breaks this habitual identification and it reveals not the external shallow I is the ego I, but the internal Atman, which is that deeper I. You start becoming a knower, a watcher of that awareness. So in that you feel that vibrational nature of everything. And you're able to assimilate. So that intuition, perception, that will sharpen. Because silence fine-tunes your inner instrument, which is the antakarana. So now being in Aparoksha Anubhuthi or in Viveka Chudamani, what are we trying to do? It's the natural outcome of that deep discrimination, Viveka, for inner realization, what we are doing. So if you don't force in silence, what happens? Then you are still at the outer limits. So try to start at a moderate level. Don't go in for 36 hours of Mouna. 3 hours. Easily you can do. What you have to do first thing is tell everybody I'm not available. Switch off your mobile. Be in some corner of the house. After you've finished your work. Not when you know that everybody is now coming to you. The cook is coming and asking, what should I prepare? A dobi is coming. then maid is coming. During that time, don't go into Mouna. You know there is a time which is 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours where relatively you're free, excepting those phone calls and some buddy comes and rings the doorbell. Make a placard, I'm in Mouna, that's it. And then whatever bare minimum transaction you do and get back into that. If at all you're not able to, you have to speak 1 or 2 words, it's all right. But start practicing 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours. Silence is one's true nature beyond speech. Maunam tu swaha swarupam vakya rahitatvam. It is your own true nature. To achieve your true nature, this is one of the easiest way to get hold of it. Okay, we are almost there with another 10 minutes. So we'll do the rest what we have to and do a bit of Sakshi Bhava meditation, being a pure witness. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Idam Namama. Om Tat Sat. Today we'll be doing Sri Vishnu Sahasranama, verse 54, 507 and 508. Somapo mrutapas somaha purujit purusattamaha vinayo jay satya sandhyo dasharya satvatam patihi. Purusattamaha, one who is greater among the great. Here the word Puru means great. In some readings we find instead of this term Purusattamaha, the term Purushottama is used, in which case the meaning is the omnipresent Purusha and the best Uttamaha. So that is the absolute reality. Purusattamaha. 508 we have Vinayaha. So the direct meaning, of course, it means he who shows the supreme humility. But the term also means one who humiliates those who are unrighteous. The Lord is one who leads well, meaning Vinaya, the seekers, who leads well, whom the seekers steadily through the path of truth and righteousness. So if at all we are going ahead with that resilience, that steadfastness and that zeal, it is happening only because of the Lord who is Vinayaha. To such a Vinayaha and Purusattamaha, we offer our humble salutations. Seek His grace, mercy and blessings. Om Tat Sat. Most importantly, let's take the blessings of Lord Dhanvantari. Today I was not able to tell you what are the reasons why we were not able to, why we are not able to understand Brahman. Okay, there are 5 reasons I'll take up in the next class. Om Namo Bhagavate Mahasudarshanaaya Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrutakalashastaya Sarvabhaya Vinashaya Sarvaroga Nivaranaya Trailokyapataye Trailokyanidaya Shri Mahavishnu Swarupa Shri Dhanvantari Swarupa Shri 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 Aushadha Chakra Narayanaya Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Mahasudarshanaaya Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrutakalashastaya Sarvabhaya Vinashaya Sarvaroga Nivaranaya Trailokyapataye त्रैलोक्यनिधये श्री महाविष्णु स्वरूप श्री धन्वंतरी स्वरूप श्री 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 औषध चक्र नारायणाय स्वाहा। ओम नमो भगवते महासुदर्शनाय वासुदेवाय धन्वंतरये अमृतकलशहस्ताय सर्वभयविनाशाय सर्वरोगनिवारणाय त्रैलोक्यपतये त्रैलोक्यनिधये श्री महाविष्णुस्वरूप श्री धन्वंतरी स्वरूप श्री 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 औषधचक्र नारायणाय स्वाहा। We offer our humble salutations to Lord Dhanvantari. To give us the appropriate health till we reach our goals. Now we do the Sakshi Bhava meditation. Relax. Now observe your breath. Let's do the meditation what we learned today, the technique where we'll focus on the switch, that brief fraction of a second we get between the inhale and the exhale. Okay. Now completely relax your face, your forehead. Your shoulders. Now, don't focus on the inhalation or exhalation. Only grasp that brief moment of the switch between the inhalation, exhalation and exhalation to inhalation. Do normal breathing. You don't have to do any special technique. Just your normal breath. Wait for that switch and grab hold of that switch. पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरि ओम तत्सत् श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः। Together we offer today's Gnana Yajna at the lotus feet of the Almighty to seek His grace, mercy and blessings. नाहं कर्ता हरि प्रेरणाय हरि प्रीत्यर्थम श्री कृष्णार्पणमस्तु इदं न मम। ओम तत्सत्। Good evening once again to everybody. So I hope you were quite convinced of the power of fasting with Mouna. See how you could enhance your spiritual life with these techniques. Okay, till we meet next, keep your sadhana in full force. Make use of these techniques, what you have learned, and take it forward. Hari Om.
अहमेवाहमव्ययः द्वन्द्वादिसाक्षिरूपोऽहम् अचलोऽहं सनातनः सर्वसाक्षिस्वरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः प्रज्ञानघन एवाहम् विज्ञानघन एव च अकर्ताहम् अभोक्ताहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः निराधारस्वरूपोऽहम् सर्वाधारोऽहमेव च आप्तकामस्वरूपोऽहम् अहमेवाहमव्ययः तापत्रयविनिर्मुक्तः देहत्रयविलक्षणः अवस्थात्रयसाक्ष्यस्मि अहमेवाहमव्ययः दृग्दृश्यौ द्वौ पदार्थौ स्तः परस्परविलक्षणौ दृग्ब्रह्मदृश्यं मायेति सर्ववेदान्तडिण्डिमः अहं साक्षीति यो विद्यात् विविच्यैवं पुनः पुनः स एव मुक्तः स विद्वान् इति वेदान्तडिण्डिमः घटकुड्यादिकं सर्वं मृत्तिकामात्रमेव च तद्वद्ब्रह्म जगत्सर्वम् इति वेदान्तडिण्डिमः ब्रह्म सत्यं जगन्मिथ्या जीवो ब्रह्मैव नापरः अनेन वेद्यं सच्छास्त्रम् इति वेदान्तडिण्डिमः अन्तर्ज्योति बहिर्ज्योतिः प्रत्यर्ज्योतिः परात्परः ज्योतिज्योति स्वयं ज्योतिः आत्मज्योतिशिवोऽस्म्यहम् ज्योतिज्योति स्वयं ज्योतिः आत्मज्योतिशिवो